What you consume consumes you. We don't think of it that way, but it's a truth. Too much of anything, even the good things, will eventually own us. Excessive scrolling, news, this need for constant stimulation. And it seems harmless at first, but it's as if we've handed over our freedom to things that are only meant to be experienced, not become. And so slowly it begins to shape the way we think, the way we feel, the way we move through life. And before you know it, you're not the one choosing anymore. The consumption, the need, that needy energy is choosing for us. That's what addiction feels like. The moment the need starts choosing for us, you're no longer the one deciding. The thing you've consumed has now consumed you. And it doesn't matter what it is, a habit, a person, or even our own thoughts. When it begins to move you without awareness, you've given away your freedom. Have you ever noticed that excess always leaves us empty? And I'll tell you why. It leaves us empty because it keeps us wanting more. Too much sugar makes the body sick. Too much noise makes the mind even more restless. Too much seeking outside of ourselves leave us more empty, while our souls is starving for our attention. We forget that indulgence doesn't have to look messy. It can look polished, it can look normal, even celebrated. But no matter the form, too much of anything dulls the senses and pull you away from yourself. Our senses are not separate from us, if that makes sense. They're a part of our being. But when we are drowned, or when we drown them in excess, they stop guiding us and start deceiving us. Our senses are meant to help us experience life. But when we get consumed in things, it dulls the senses. The world doesn't warn us about this. It encourages it. It sells us distraction packaged. It packages it presents it to us as necessities. And in the chase for all of these things, we lose the very thing we're really looking for, and that's peace. And I'm not saying that having certain things like a car or whatever you need to get by is wrong. This isn't a criticism, it's not an attack. Life and the wisdom it offers does not discriminate. Consumption isn't just about food. Overconsumption isn't just about food or technology or entertainment. It also it's also the way we consume people's attention, their approval, their validation. How often do we wait for someone else's words to suit us, someone else's presence to complete us? And I'm speaking from my own experience here. Those moments when you feel bored or restless and the mind starts spinning with ideas. And you notice in those moments when you're feeling bored, the mind, it's like a wake up call for the mind to just start spinning with ideas. Have you noticed that? What to do next? What's the next thing that I need to do? You call a friend, you reach out, looking for something to fill that emptiness. There's nothing wrong with hanging out. But what I want to point out is how subtle consumption creeps in, how it begins to shape how we think, how we act. And slowly it starts to take over by drawing our attention away from ourselves. But if you've ever noticed, even when they give it, someone gives you advice or someone gives you their attention, it never lasts. You find yourself wanting more. And that hunger keeps us tied to the same cycle of always reaching. The truth is that anything we crave more than our own presence will eventually drain or consume us. If we're not in the moment, how can we ever hear or see what the moment is trying to show us? We miss the guidance that was meant only for us. If we're consumed. Presence is the language. Presence just feels like the language of truth. And without it, life feels like noise instead of direction. This is the illusion of the world. It tells us we need more information, more experiences, more possession. But is more really the answer to peace? Is more really what we really, truly want? Because what your soul wants isn't quantity, it's more quality. That's how they coined the phrase quality of life. It's about meaning and purpose. And that can only be found when you stop running from yourself. Have you noticed that when you're fully present, you don't need as much? Notice that. Have you noticed that? When you're fully present, you don't need as much. The meal doesn't have to be extravagant. Just nourish, just the nourishment. It's just enough. And silence doesn't feel empty. It's more of a comfort. The moment doesn't need to change. It's enough. When we wake up to our true selves, you see this. It has softened me. I'm no longer chasing needing, that energy of needing, always needing, no longer. Just being. So often we consume not because we're fulfilled, but because maybe we're avoiding something, avoiding that silence, the silence that speaks, avoiding grief, avoiding the questions we're afraid to answer. And we fill our minds, we occupy any empty space that we can. We fill our minds, our schedule, even our hearts, just to escape what's sitting beneath the surface. But the more we run, the more we become, or the more consumed we become. The escape itself becomes the prison, and our attention is pulled more into the consumption, the consuming, the need. Clouds will always come and go, but if you don't know yourself, every passing cloud will feel like it's carrying you with it. But when you're rooted in the true self, you see the clouds for what they are: passing, temporary, shifting, never permanent. And there comes a moment in life when you realize nothing outside of you will save you. This is an awakening. This is an awakening. Nothing outside of you will save you. Not the relationship, not the success, not the next purchase or distraction, which became like an addiction for me. That's how I used to escape until everything became quiet. Because even if it gives you comfort for a moment, it cannot give you wholeness. And that's what our soul has been asking for all along. Wholeness, not more. The peace that comes from knowing yourself, not the identity, the self, the true self. When you return, you never left. Let's be clear. But you bring your attention to the truth of who you are. You remember. You remember that peace isn't found in chasing, but in being. Presence is what breaks the cycle of just identifying as a person. When you return to yourself, you begin to see clearly what is useful and what is simply noise. And what is useful in the moment. You can enjoy life without being consumed by it. You can use technology without becoming dependent on it. It dulls the senses. Pure awareness allows us to see this because you're seeing without eyes. It's an awareness that was always there. It never was never born. And there's a knowing that arises not from the mind, from this awareness. That's the awareness I'm pointing to. It's not about knowledge or learned wisdom. Presence gives us back our power. It reminds you that you don't need to escape the moment, because the moment itself can hold you. The moment itself exists through you. The soul longs for our attention. Every distraction we've chased, every indulgence we've given into has only been a substitute for this one thing. You need you. You need you. Not the performance of you, not the version that wins approval, not the image you project, not what you wear, not what type of job you have, not what position you hold. That sounds like the world, right? It sounds much like the world. But the quiet, honest you, the one that exists under all those layers, when you give yourself this attention, the need to excessively consume fades, because you're no longer starving. You're whole. You're enough. So enjoy life. Eat the food. Watch the show. Have the conversation. Go out. But don't get lost in it. Don't hand over your freedom to what was only meant to be experienced in moderation. What you consume consumes you. But when you choose presence, nothing owns you anymore. You don't need more. It is enough. And that's found right here in this moment, within you and within me. Thank you for sitting with me. If this resonates for you, stay with it. Ponder. A good heart ponders, and let it come alive in you. Let the words come alive in you. Let them awaken something in you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for the subscribing, near and far. Thank you all, and much love to you on your continued journey.